family in Western Australia are very sad at the loss of Michael. Angela and Fran's husband Bob, have clear and fond memories of Michael's company in Great Britain. We feel fortunate to have met Michael and spent time with him. Although she never had the pleasure of meeting him, Yanni also sends her condolences. We extend our love and sympathy to Damian, Siobhan and Dominica and their families, and to siblings James, Damian, Mary, Joseph and their families. In our love and prayers are with you. I'm now going to talk about Mikey. I will always remember how kind Mikey was to me. Even when he was annoyed at Mum sometimes, he was always nice to me. He was full of brilliant ideas and talked about buying me a car or a boat or a pony for Hermione. He bought me a lovely laptop this year. It's because of Mikey that I love lots of different kinds of seafood. I used to get tearful sometimes when I told him that I loved him, and I know that he really loved me.
All our times with Mikey were great. I loved when he came to our house. Last summer he came for breakfast. Both loved that we were sat in the garden eating scrambled eggs on toast, while my chickens had laid the eggs and were wandering around our feet. I loved them very much.
Mikey was my only grandfather. He was very special. I've got lots of happy memories. Visiting him, calling in at McDonald's on the way to get him coffee, and all of us at Hamburg. I like listening to his stories, telling me about various things in his house, the back scratchings, and Falcon being particular favourites. I will miss Mikey very much.
I'm just going to read Hermione's for her. Mikey would always cut out pictures from the Times about Irish dancing and ballet for me, and we would talk about them together. He always had black and white movies on when we visited, and it was fun watching them together. Last time I went over, I remember watching The Longest Day with him. I'm going to finish watching it soon.
I loved him so much and I wanted to miss him.
Thank you for those reflections. Well done. Damian will read now Come Softly to My Wake by Christy Brown.
Well done, Mike. 2020 was different, it's all given, isn't it? Come softly to my wake, and Pavlova feet, grey and ending day, into the smoking heat, and quietly smiling, quietly unknown, among the garrulous guests gathered in water nests to reminisce and moan. Come not with ornate grief to desecrate my sleep, but a calm togetherness of hands, quiet windless sands, and if you must weep, be it for the old quick lust, now lost in dust, only you could shake its lair. Come softly to my wake and drink the great rugged crust of friendly bread, and weep not for me dead, but lying stupidly there upon the womanless bed with a sexless stare, no thought in my head.
Today, Siobhan and Dominica now will read some eulogy.
Dad was born in Washington in 1941, the eldest son of Ursula and James O'Neill, a proud, loving brother of James, Damian, Mary and Joseph. From this small village, in what was then County Durham, Dad travelled far and wide. Algeria to Zaire via Shetland, whatsoever at Cambridge, to name just a few. Family in the North East was always a strong pull, and we spent many hours travelling up and down the A1 in a variety of cars. Our journeys were often memorable and sometimes verged on the perilous. When the headlights failed on the Beetle, we drove the last 50 plus miles tucked in behind an HGV and saying Hail Marys that they wouldn't turn off before we reached the Washington exit. Cars were a huge source of pleasure and pride. This is obvious from the number of photographs. Dominica sitting on the bonnet of the shear line, or Jerry, the cat, sitting under the Bentley. Dad drove a Land Rover from Washington to Poland, leaving Mum to drive the 2CV. On reflection, this seems bonkers. Over 1,000 miles in cars that averaged 50 miles an hour. But that bonkersness and sense of adventure is what led to drives through Poland's winter wonderland forests, with us and our sledges in tow behind, and to Dad teaching Damian to drive when he was only 10. You may be surprised, or not, to know that copies of What Car and Classic and Sports Car rivaled Dad's impressive newspaper collection. Throughout his travels, Dad's humour, charm and reputation for hosting great parties meant he was at the centre of, and usually directing, any community he was part of. In 1981, we moved to Cambridge, where he took his Masters in Land Economy. His gown has been used since at a variety of fancy dress parties. Here, his hospitality continued, not just for his friends, but for us too. I remember the excitement of my 16th birthday party. Not only was I allowed open house for the entire class and more, but was finally allowed a pair of heels. This was a huge step forward from our usual nun's shoes. In addition to cars, music, architecture and books were important to Dad. We shared a love of crime novels. I stole many of his Ed McBains and gifted him my Anne Cleves. Len Davies were a shared passion too, but I'm embarrassed to say that I never did finish his treasured Catch-22. We were dragged around many architectural treasures over the years, and I'm not really sure we appreciated it all. He insisted we travelled through East and West Berlin, visited the Brandenburg Gate, and saw the wall. It wasn't until it was being taken down that we realised the importance of Dad's history lessons and stories. His collection of Pevsner architectural guides rivals a library and came in handy when I was doing my art history degree. As well as this potted history, I want to share some personal memories and things that I've inherited from Dad. There's the nose, obviously, and apologies, Alex, for passing this on.